Can I start with Maro Itoje?
Yeah.
England captain, 80-minute player.
Yes.
How big a moment for him and how big a moment for this team?
I think it's a huge moment. I think he's consistently been a brilliant, world-class player for England. I think people were always confused as to why he wasn't captain. I don't think he was up to that point the right man for the job.
Eddie was very public about
Eddie was
it.
public about it.
We've always said that
public,
you see him as a leader by what he does on the field, not necessarily what he says.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he never captained Saracens said all you needed to know, because that was your natural progression. So I think for me, him ultimately becoming captain of Saracens, leading from the front, gaining that experience, put him in the right position. And I think you need a certain level of maturity to be an England captain. And I think he'll do an absolutely brilliant job. He's certainly now, again, a leader of men in terms of the way he plays. I think hopefully he'll understand the ability, the need to sort of use deputies and speaking when spoken. Well, we're speaking at the right times. But I think it's a massive opportunity for him. I think it's really, really good for the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing him perform. And I just hope it doesn't affect his performance, because we've seen sometimes with him when the pressure's on, because he's used to forcing turnovers a bit, sometimes can spill over into being a bit of a penalty machine at times. But he seems to have got that balance right now. But when you're captain, it can either raise your game or the added pressure can break you. And I never experienced being in captain. Tins can probably talk about that, because you did captain a few times, didn't you? So I think for me, it'll be really interesting to see what it gets the best out of him. For some people, it'll be the making of him, and he'll go up a whole new level.
Yeah, I do still think they've got quite a few talkers around him. I don't think it's going to all fit on his shoulders. For the last couple of captains, they've picked on who's good around the group Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Whereas at least with Maro, even when he's not had his greatest game, he'll still have played at a level that not many people operate at. And I think that was something that Jono did. I think it throws his name in the hat if he can do it well and get a win on the weekend and then move into the tournament. It puts that Lions debate up for him. So he's got to see this as a challenge. But I think he'll go all right. Go on.
How prescriptive do you think England are now in their decision making? So that's the big thing for me, right? So one, you got to pick a captain who plays at a very high level all the time.
Yeah,
right. That's
And is the 80-minute thing a factor?
Less of a factor, because the game, if you're a forward now, there's such rotation.
Although it was one of the it's not a criticism, but it was one one of the observations is that Jamie George was on the field and they were winning, and then you take your captain off and they kept losing later.
So I think you do. Listen, modern game means that forwards are going to be in and out. So you're going to have to adapt to that anyway. But is it a slight advantage? Yeah, it is. So delivering really high end performance. I think the idea of being the brilliant orator is less now. It's not completely gone, but it's certainly less than it was. So, what's your next most important role? And that is, decisions that you're asked to make around, penalties and decision making and speaking to the referee, managing the referee. So, yeah, I'd be interested, and you guys might have more insight. How prescriptive are England? I would say, if you look at South Africa, incredibly prescriptive. I would say, the decision is really made before the game. If we get into this position, if it's at this time, this is what we do. Whereas I'm not sure there's a little bit more flexibility with England.
Can I just throw in a lot? So as we're recording this, I've just checked the news. Alex Mitchell fit to start for England.
Oh, well, I was going to say that is good, because you were talking. When you were going to talk about prescriptive, I think he was a big loss
in the autumn,
in the fact that he still plays off the cuff. I'm not going to put him in the same place as Dupont, but he dictates our tempo way better. His decision making, he lifts tempo very well for us as well. And
he was a big miss in the autumn.
He was a big miss, and I think him coming back, and if he can play on form, he is a massive asset for us, which is amazing considering where he got his first cap from in terms of not even being in the World Cup squad and then coming in and sort of taking over. And I think, having someone like Rafi Quirk or
Randall,
is Randall
or Spencer?
Spencer's coming in.
Yeah.
So I think he's been very unlucky in his career. If I'm honest with you, I think he had
I don't think he's ever won a game for England.
Is that true?
Which is a shame. Yeah, for such a talented player, and the man who looks likely to lift.
But I think in the autumn again, he was probably in the lead when he went off.
Yes, possibly.
But
and then he was binned after that, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, there's rumours of great conversations that he gets phone call to say, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but Rafi Quirk's coming in," and then an hour later he had to ring back and go, "Oh, by the way, you're coming in as well." But then you sort of get your pecking order without him meaning to tell you your pecking order.
Don't read into anything. Here's the bench for the start.
But I think,
don't read into it.
But I think it will only benefit us having Mitchell there, and I think if you've got someone like Mitchell who sort of sets that tempo, I think it will take. I think Mitch has been captain of Northampton before. Yeah. I think it just gives that extra help to Maro, and Marcus can then just get about his work.